All right, what's up, people? Today we got another episode of this thing here. This thing I'm doing on the internet, and I wanted to thank you for listening. If you're out there listening, today's just gonna be honestly, it's just gonna be a little episode on. I know the one that I just did was about Jamal Adams, but we're headed right back. We're headed right back because the news keeps coming out and it keeps coming out hard. Uh, Jamal Adams is he does not want to be a Jet. He does not want to be a Jet. So I kind of wanted to go over today a lot of what I've been seeing in the fan base and my general reactions to what's going on and just the way that the Jets are handling it and not handling it. You're not really seeing anything coming out of the Jets right now, and I think that's very very purposeful. They want Jamal Adams to run his track here and just let it do its thing, you know. And I kind of wanted to go over that, but I definitely think one of the really important aspects of what's going on in this whole contract dispute is the relationship between Jamal Adams and the fans, and the Jamal Adams stands. And let me tell you, Jamal Adams at this point, I mean, with all this going on, if he's not on the Jets, he's not about to be this, you know. But as of right now, and the years before, Jamal Adams has been my favorite player in the National Football League. So this is just a weird time for me. So when I say Jamal Adams stands, I just want to let it be known, make sure you guys know that I do really like Jamal Adams as a player in the National Football League, and I think he really does a lot and a lot of stuff that is so the highlight reels. It gets a little spicy once you start watching them. I can tell you that right now, and there's not too many lowlights. He's almost always on. Last year he kind of went off for a little bit after, and this goes back to the contract disputes. It was after the trade deadline thing, and it looked like the Cowboys had released some information about a trade that was possibly that wasn't even going to happen, but was just talked about between the Cowboys and the Jets involving Jamal Adams, and he was like hurt. He was hurt after that one, and you could see it in his play. You could see it with how the product on the field that he was putting down was not the polished product of times before. I could definitely tell you that. Everybody could tell you that when they saw what was happening on that field, and it was no doubt because of what was happening with the contracts. And look at us today. Look at us today. You know, I didn't buy a Jamal Adams jersey, not because I didn't have the money, but because I guess because you could see the writing on the wall. You could see all the way back then. You could really start to. That's when you started to notice it. It was, I mean, obviously after the trade deadline happenings between the Cowboys and the Jets. You know, you could almost see it coming, and I would have bought a jersey. But here's the thing. I was not going to buy a jersey until I saw a signed contract extension. Because if you're a Jets fan that really keeps up with what's going on, you keep up with the news and Jamal Adams in particular, which as a Jets fan, who else you're really keeping up with? This is no slide to Jets players. You know, there's just not too many that get the close eye as the best, some of the best players on the team, you know? And so you're watching Jamal Adams' progression throughout this year with his relationship with the organization. You kind of saw it happening. You saw it coming. What's weird about it is that a lot of it has come from Jamal Adams just seeing a post on social media and cracking at it. That's weird. It's a little weird. You know, there's a part of me that wonders if this is all 4D chess. You know, what's 4D chess, you might say? 4D chess is it's like kind of like a conspiracy theory type mindset where you know, this guy's doing this just to make him mad, but really it's because he wants this other thing they're gonna end up doing if they follow whatever he's, you know, 4D chess. That was a terrible explanation, but basically, I wonder if all of this social media talk is just Jamal Adams got together with his camp, and he said, "Hey, like, I'm gonna really try to use social media to show players that you can advance yourself by creating enough stir online, because it's no doubt that Jamal Adams seeing players, especially in-house like Le'Veon Bell, that have tried to do what they can to put it into their own hands and really get the ball rolling with your contract and getting the money that you want. And the NFL has been getting way better for players when it comes to contract disputes. Nobody can doubt that. That's just the truth. It's nowhere near something like the basketball players do, and it makes me look at like what's that great pop and documentary of Michael Jordan that came on this summer, or not this summer. It feels like it's summer because he wasn't doing nothing, but during the coronavirus, The Last Dance. You see kind of the behind the scenes stuff, and I don't know too much about basketball. I didn't watch it. I watched it here and there. I've watched some finals. I can definitely tell you that. But I only knew about it because it was the best of the best players, and I couldn't tell you, the guys that have potential that are gonna come up. What's my opinions on up and coming basketball players? I can't tell you that. But one thing I could tell you, even before watching The Last Dance, is that star players have a lot of power in the NBA. And in The Last Dance, you kind of see why. Compared to football, basketball is way more star oriented because you can literally put a team on your back if you're that good. And we've seen it multiple times with LeBron James. We've seen it with all the greats. And mind you, this is me not watching a lot of football. This is me just putting the pieces. If you know even some of the basics about football, that that you can really carry a lot of a team if you're really, really good. Now, if when it comes to like basketball finals, from what I can tell, it looks like it tightens up. It starts to tighten up. Once you start getting up there in the skill range for basketball players, it starts to tighten up a lot more. And you need, you can't really just rely on yourself. You need more of that team. But still, in basketball, it's way easier to do. And that's one of the largest reasons why the stars over there have so much power. Because, you could have one star that makes up for 60% of the scoring power in your team. And that's what you would need to get the ball rolling, to start getting some wins. So you're going to pay that money for the star player. And it looks like with the NFL getting easier and easier, year after year, we see some players that test the boundaries of the contract situations. And I think one of the best telltale signs of what's to come was Antonio Brown and his contract situation with the Raiders, because for a while there, you looked at it and you went, wow, he flailed and he kicked, flailed, and screamed and got everything he wanted. He ended up going from, first off, an already contending organization, then to, they've had some success in the past in the Raiders, but they haven't been there in a while. And he gets sent there. So what does he do? He kicks and screams again. And he gets pushed off to the Patriots. And I watched that definitely saying, this is, he ruined it. We just need to say that. He ruined it. He ruined his situation there for himself. And it's a little sad to see. We all know the Antonio Brown story. There's no need to go over it that much, but you saw that a player can really, in today's day and age of the NFL, can get some things going. And with his contract and his situation and the team he plays on. But when it comes to Jamal Adams, I think first off, what's led us here has been some of Joe Douglas, the general manager of the New York Jets. It's been some of his mistakes, maybe his rookie mistakes for being a general manager, maybe. Because I think Jamal Adams really got hurt after the season, I believe, when Joe Douglas comes out and he says, I want Jamal Adams to be a Jet for life. Jamal Adams hears that and says, okay, my work is paying off. I'm going to get me a contract right now. And and I'm pretty sure there's reports out that, I don't know if you heard it straight from Joe Douglas, but I think there was reports that Joe Douglas said, or Joe Douglas camp said that they would get into contract talks with Jamal Adams after the draft. And according to Jamal Adams, that hasn't happened either. And the Jets haven't said anything to dispute that fact. So I guess we could say maybe it's true. You know, that's one of the things about what's going on right now. The Jets organization isn't saying anything. But I think that's going to be telltale of what really goes down here. Joe Douglas, being a rookie, he doesn't want to be stepped on. He doesn't want to be stepped on because he knows, based off of the product that we think he's selling us as Jets fans, you know, we think he's selling to Christopher Johnson, probably thinks he's being sold this. He's here to change the culture. He's here to bring winning football to the New York Jets. And we've seen it with these one-year contracts. For some reason, in Joe Douglas's mind, he thought it was best this year to really stand his ground and get those one-year contracts out and not overpay for these players that he wanted. I'm not exactly sure why he wanted the one-year contracts for some of these players. I definitely would have wanted to see Poole on a longer contract. Maybe Jordan Jenkins on a longer contract as well. That's not what we saw, but we got him. We got him for another year. And the one thing that it teaches us, above a lot of things, is he's going to stand his ground. Joe Douglas is not going to move for nobody. That's what it looks like right now. And that's what I ultimately think that's going to happen with this Jamal Adams situation. Jamal Adams has no leverage. And I really think I think with all indications, that's how we see the Jets organization viewing the situation, viewing the Jamal Adams dispute. They understand that he signed the contract. He's got to ride it out. They can choose to do what they want to do with him. If I was the Jets organization now, this is where I fully disagree with the Jets organization, I would have had Jamal Adams paid. Paid right after the draft, like I presumably said, you know? Like Joe Douglas presumably said, based off of the reports. I would have had him paid. And you know why? Because Jamal Adams is the best safety in the league. Because the New York Jets don't keep drafted talent. We don't find drafted talent. And we got a history of not keeping drafted talent. And if I'm Joe Douglas and I'm talking about bringing winning culture, I would jump. Maybe I would have jumped at the occasion. Come on, it's spending money. But I would have definitely hopped on the occasion if a player like Jamal Adams is there and he's really setting the example for what I want from a football player, I'm going to reward that. And I'm going to show people that I'm going to reward that. Now, where you might say where he's holding on here is because he just doesn't want to do that. He wants to display no precedent for showing he will cave early. Maybe that's just his MO, and he wants to hold out on these contracts and wait a year for it to really be ideal for him. But if I was Joe Douglas, I'm signing him. You know, I'm definitely doing it, and I blame Joe Douglas for not signing him. And I hear all this stuff from a lot of Jets fans saying we don't have to. But my rebuttal is that it would have set a true example. You're trying to come in here and change the culture, you know, based off what we've seen, and that's why he wants a new contract, because he's no doubt outplayed that contract. And I would think as general manager, based off of what we've seen, this is a player that I want. This is a player that I want to lead my defense for the next few years, for the next 10 years. You want him on there. He's a terrific safety, and nobody can take that from him. He's got great sense in blitzing. He can. The way he shuts down the tight ends is something beautiful to see, and that's why it's a little hurtful to see that we probably, you know, even though I say I think it's going to be dragged out, you know, I think somebody's going to pay a haul. I think it's that attractive. Somebody will pay the haul of picks. And if I'm Joe Douglas and somebody offers me a haul for Jamal Adams right now, I'm taking it. I'm taking it. And I feel like there's a market out there for that. Maybe not right now. Maybe. And maybe it gets worse with time for this year. But yeah, that's the only way I see him moving is for a lot of picks. And I think that's really the consensus with the community right now is nobody's going to take anything really low. And we would all call Joe Douglas crazy for doing that. And I don't think he's going to do that. But ultimately, I think Jamal Adams is going to be here for the year. And what I hear a lot from a lot of Jets commentators right now is you really think, quote, you really think Jamal Adams is not going to play a year of football? They're saying it like it's so astonishing. I don't know. And it really comes down to how Jamal Adams sees himself in this situation. And if he's trying to be a pioneer on how NFL players have control of their contract situations, maybe he holds out. Maybe we don't ever see him play ever again. I don't think it's that certain. But I do think it comes down to what he's trying to do here. Does he really want money? I don't know, because he has a list of teams that he'll go to even if they don't give him a contract. So does he really want money? I don't know. He obviously wants wins. But I think on top of it all too, the reason why he's doing all of this is because his last resort to changing this contract situation is exactly what this is. There's literally nothing else for Jamal Adams to do than kick and scream on social media, demand a trade, this, and that. He has no leverage. And that's why I say it might go a little farther, because he said today, Jamal Adams said goodbye to the Jets, the New York Jets team. I'm not talking about the organization, the New York Jets team. Now, maybe he's got some kind of backdoor relationship where he's like, oh, play along. And I can see that happening because every player wants to see other players get their money. But I don't think it's so certain that he's gonna play football. I don't think it's that certain. I think we're seeing something bigger than just this contract dispute. I would not be surprised if he not only wants to change the safety market, but he wants to further move the peg for how NFL players move on and really control where they want to play, which is a dangerous precedent for NFL front offices, which is another reason why I don't think Joe Douglas is going to move on this. I don't think so. Jamal Adams has no leverage for Joe Douglas to be doing anything. I would hope that they get a contract done and we put this all behind us, because he's that good of a player. And as long as the players aren't hurt, that's the thing. In a situation like this, you wonder how the players feel. And I'm not going to speak on behalf of them. This is just me with no knowledge of what a football locker room is like, because I've never been in one. I've been in like kids, like middle school football locker rooms. It's nothing compared to when there's money attached to it and stuff like that. And I don't know how they perceive what's going on. I don't know if they think, oh, he's just trying to get his bread, or if there's some people on there that are saying, wow, I thought we were trying to build winning football culture here. And I thought you were going to be a big part of helping us. But like I said, I can't speak in behalf of them. And maybe they're all in on, hey, go get your money. Go get your money. And rightfully so, go get your money. He's outplayed that contract. But at the end of the day, he is under contract. He did sign a contract already, and he's in it. Is it a bad contract? In his situation, the way he views it, absolutely. He's outplaying that contract. And with like the examples I brought up in my past episodes, he sees all these other players, especially from his draft class, all these other players getting contracts, and he's frustrated, especially he would probably be less frustrated if we were actually winning games. If the New York Jets could not be the shitty organization that it is, we wouldn't be here today. And I think that's evident. But I mean, that's such that's such a nothing thing to say. That's like saying we would have won if we didn't lose. But he's fed up with the losing, and he wants to go to a winning team. It kind of speaks to his character, I guess. If you don't want to build nothing and you want to move on, but maybe there is something behind the scenes that we really, really don't know about, because that's what he's claiming. Antonio Cromartie came out on Twitter and said, "Oh, just had a conversation with Jamal Adams, and I can't say anything, but if you knew, you would understand." I mean, that's not really saying anything. The other day, Jamal Adams said he responded to Gangrene Empire, I believe, on Instagram, and said, "Yeah, I'll clear up the air today." We didn't hear anything. We didn't hear a single lick of any information. So it's, we don't really know. We don't really know. And one thing as a Jets fan that I can say is I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they found some kind of way to really push the situation to where it is, regardless of whoever's at the helm. Maybe we're cursed, man, because I wouldn't be surprised. And come on, look at what we're going through right now. Could there be any other team that you would see taking up the attention of the entire NFL when there's no games going on, with some strange stuff going on while the pandemic is going down? There's no other team. It's the New York Jets. This is on brand. Good job, New York Jets. You're really, if that's what you're trying to sell, you sell it. We see it. We see it. It's a good product you're putting on there. It's really conveying what the blurb says in the back of the book of the New York Jets: failure, incompetence, and not keeping your drafted players. And that's really my piece that I need to say. That's really what I wanted to come out and convey. Another short episode, an episode regardless. Just got to pump them out continuously every week. I'm going to try to do that. Try to get that in the schedule. And regardless of all that, thank you for listening. If you're listening, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed my Jamal Adams takes. I hope you enjoyed your time. And I hope the rest of your day, the rest of your night, tomorrow, I hope it's all great. Have a wonderful day, guys.